What's up, guys? Welcome back to another SportUniverse podcast. It's the 12th podcast now. I'm Brian. Oh, wait, hold on. I forgot to say where sports are our universe. I'm Brian, and I'm joined with Jonathan and Nick.
Hello.
What's going on, guys?
So, we were trying to think of topics for the podcast and realized that there hasn't been much going on. So we figured we should just make this an NFL podcast since the NFL is starting to heat back up again, and we felt that it would just be best to do that. So I've made a list of questions that we'll be going over, and I think we'll just get into it. Let me pull it up. Okay. So the first thing I think we should discuss is which rookies we are most intrigued with this season. Do you guys want to start?
Sure. All right. Sure. I think two interesting players to look at going into this season. I think obviously Kyler Murray, because he's such a dynamic player. You know, even though he isn't, people would think that, but his ability to run as well as throw an amazing football. He could be one of the best quarterbacks in NFL history. If everything works out right. Mm-hmm. Could be terrible, could be mediocre. So I think he's definitely intriguing and one to watch. I think another player which should be interesting to watch is Marquise Brown. I want to say Hollywood, the wide receiver drafted by the Ravens. I think like him and could make a pretty interesting combo. The combination of their speed. Because if defenses are so worried about Lamar Jackson running, then regardless of, deep passes and whatnot that Lamar Jackson can or can't throw, he might get left open just as a precaution to stop Lamar Jackson from running. Mm-hmm. So I think those are two interesting rookies to look at going into this season.
Yeah, I was definitely going to say Kyler Murray because he's the number one overall pick, and obviously being the number one overall pick, there's a lot of doubts with that, and also people think he's going to be great, so it could go either way with him. But I also think Daniel Jones is interesting just because, not based off his talent or anything, but just based off how many people were against the pick and seeing if he can wrong and prove that he's the talent that who's the GM, Gettleman or something?
For which?
The Giants GM.
Which team? Oh, yeah, Gettleman.
Gettleman, seeing if Gettleman made the right choice. I don't really know if I really have an opinion on him, but I feel like he's very intriguing to watch because of all the doubters that he has.
I just thought that's a tough one just simply because he might not play with Eli.
Yeah, that is true. That's true.
That would be the only problem.
That's a good point. But you never know.
I was thinking of Dwayne Haskins, Daniel Jones' potential rival. Because obviously he was supposed to be a lock for the Giants.
Yeah.
And falling to their division rival in the Redskins, I think that'll be interesting to see how he develops. Obviously the Redskins had a pretty fantastic draft class. And, they'll be competing with the Cowboys. We'll see if Philly bounces back. But I think the NFC East will be top-heavy, and then the Giants will be at the bottom.
Poor Giants. So I guess going from that, the next step would be our predictions for Rookie of the Year, defense and offensive, I guess. I would say offensive, probably Kyler Murray, because personally I don't know that much about the other one. I know stuff about the other ones, but going past the top 10 picks, I don't really know much, and I feel like he can have the best offensive influence on the game, the best offensive impact on the game out of all the other ones, since of course he's a QB and being that he is Kyler Murray. Defensively, I don't know.
Well, I'll take a stab at defense. I'm going to say Nick Bosa. I guess I'm riding the Ohio State wave, but my dad went to Ohio State. Just a little background for anyone who's listening.
John's been a big Ohio State fan since forever.
That is true.
Yeah, so I watched most of their games, same majority, and he is just just absolutely dominant. But obviously that's against college left. Is it a left tackle?
What does
I'm
he
not
play
sure.
left
I'm
or
not
right
sure
end?
what side he plays, but he's
Sure
just
doesn't make a
absolutely
difference. He'll be
dominant.
switching around in the NFL.
Yeah. But he should be very interesting to watch. I think, obviously, his brother's fantastic. And I think he'll make the same adjustment his brother did entering the NFL.
Say offensively, if Kyler Murray pans out, then it's pretty much a lock for Kyler Murray. Could be doing. It's most likely going to be a quarterback just based on the draft class, right?
Mm-hmm.
Possibly a tight end if Hawkinson or Noah Fant goes off, but I'd probably lock it in as one of the quarterbacks. Most likely Kyler Murray. Defensively, I'm kind of torn between two players. Either Quinnen Williams, defensive tackle for the Jets now. I think a really talented one tech like Quinnen Williams can really be amazing with his run stuffing and pass rushing abilities. Mm-hmm. On the other side, most people not going to expect this one, but I'd go Devin White out of LSU for the Buccaneers. This is just. He seems like a really talented linebacker, and he has great speed, and he tackles really well. And he's in the Buccaneers' defensive system, which has always been linebacker-friendly for the past 20 years or so. So, I think he definitely has the potential. He's kind of a sleeper for Defensive Rookie of the Year, but I think he has the potential to be it.
Mm-hmm. All right. I guess from there, we'll go from rookies to sophomores. So, obviously, being a Jets fan, I am very interested in the sophomore QB class and Sam Darnold in that class now. And I guess, which sophomore QB will have the greatest impact for their team. I'm kind of biased towards this one since I want it to be Sam Darnold, so I don't really want to say anyone else. I do think that Baker Mayfield holds a big target for Sam Darnold to get over, considering what Baker Mayfield got this offseason. I mean, Sam Darnold did get Le'Veon Bell, but I hope it's Sam Darnold, but I think it could be Baker Mayfield just because of how different the Browns stack up now.
Yeah, I think it's also Baker Mayfield. And obviously, he really showed out last season. Mm-hmm. I don't know when he started, because I know Tyrod Taylor started the first couple games.
Uh-huh. I think
he had
his
a winning
first
record,
game was
right?
against the Jets.
Oh, really?
I think so.
Tyrod Taylor, I don't think he signed with a team yet. Or
this season, he started a couple games last season, I think. But obviously, he does have new weapons.
Mm-hmm.
I think he'll be riding off his rookie year. I mean, obviously, their division got worse as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how the Ravens are going to fare with Lamar Jackson. Pittsburgh, they lost Antonio Brown. And the Bengals are the Bengals, so I think the Browns could potentially make the playoffs this year.
Yeah, I would not be surprised with that.
Yeah, I would agree with John and a little bit of Brian. I think Baker Mayfield. I think Baker Mayfield, his talent and his leadership and everything he did, he turned out to be last year. He definitely seems like the best quarterback out of the draft so far. He's got the most talent, so again. Browns are one of those teams that, depending on how the coaching works out, they could or could not be a playoff team or even a Super Bowl contender.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely think that Baker Mayfield is the one to watch going into next season.
Yeah, I mean, I don't
know about Super Bowl contender because the Chiefs are still there. So
I don't know. The Browns have the talent to win the Super Bowl. It's whether it'll come out working well.
See, I mean, their secondary is kind of rough, but
Denzel Ward, Greedy Williams,
score 30 a game, they'll be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe from that we'll just go into our Super Bowl predictions since we're already talking about that. If you guys want to say stuff about that.
Well, I have to go with the Chiefs from the AFC. I thought they were stiffed last season, to be honest. Mm-hmm. When Tom Brady just went down the field and just knocked him out of the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess for the NFC, Not really sure.
It's tough to say because, I mean, I would go with the Chiefs too, coming out of the AFC. But the NFC, it's kind of tough because I don't think the Rams are the same team they were. Eagles aren't what they were. So, we had some technical difficulties. But as I was saying, the Eagles are not what they used to be. They've kind of fallen. I wouldn't say fallen apart, but they're not working out as well anymore. Football's kind of complicated because you could have the same talent, and depending on your scheme or your chemistry, that might not work out. But I'd say the Saints are my front-running team for the NFC coming to this season.
I also kind of want to add on the Eagles. Carson Wentz did not look the same last season.
I can agree with that, yeah.
I don't know how he regressed. Maybe it was his ACL injury, but he was missing a lot of throws he made his rookie season. And then for my pick for the NFC, I think the Bears could potentially take the next step. I like Mr. Trubisky. He proved me wrong. And their defense is obviously fantastic with Khalil Mack. So we'll see.
I would say AFC-wise, it's hard for me not to pick the Patriots, even though I know they lost Rob Gronkowski. I've just seen so much as a Jets fan that I can't doubt Tom Brady anymore. And I know he's getting older, but it seems like he gets better when he gets older. And I feel like with Bill Belichick, they'll be able to figure out a different tight end option. They signed Safarian Jenkins, and they drafted that guy. I don't remember his name. They drafted some tight end.
Who did?
Didn't... Oh, no. Never mind.
The Patriots drafted wide receiver, N'Keal Harry.
Yeah. I feel like they'll be able to figure it out. Obviously, the Chiefs are really good, but I just can't go against the Patriots at this point, even though I really want to. And NFC-wise, I think I agree with Nick that it's the Saints. I just feel like they showed last year that Drew Brees is still top-level QB, if not number 2. And they just have a lot of weapons that make them such a good team, and it's hard not to go against them. Yeah, I would say the Saints and the Patriots. I hope the Patriots get dethroned, but I don't see that happening. So from there, we kind of went out of order, but I guess we can talk about the sleeper teams going into the next season, who we think can make the big leap. What do you guys think?
I guess I'll go. One of my sleeper teams, I guess is not kind of a sleeper. I don't know. I guess it is a sleeper team, but I go with the New York Jets.
I was going to say that.
They signed a lot of free agents. Le'Veon Bell and why am I blanking out? I don't know. Little linebacker, C.J. Mosley. Drafted pretty well, Quentin Williams. So I think the Jets could definitely take a big leap forward. I mean, I hope a big free agents signing. They've signed a lot of big free agents, so you'd hope they'd be able to make that jump.
Yeah. The thing about
my sleeper team is going to be the Colts. I'm an Andrew Luck guy. I think, they didn't play well in the playoffs against, who they play, the Texans, but hopefully they figure it out this season. I want to see Andrew Luck make a deep playoff run.
I'm going to go with the Jets, too. I don't really want to change my choice since, of course, I'm a Jets fan. I think that, like most years, the Jets are not seen as a really good team, but they should be. I was looking through power rankings today, and they're in the low 20s on every one that I've seen. The high 20s, so 26 is what I'm seeing right now. And I think that that's kind of a little crazy low, considering what they have. They weren't good last year, but Sam Darnold should be definitely better going into his sophomore season than he was his rookie year. They signed one of the best running backs in the league. he's going to definitely have some rust on him, but I really don't see them being the 26th best team in the league. I mean, they signed some really good players, like Nick said, and they just have a lot more to offer than they did last year, which I think will hopefully put them, if not in the playoffs, very close to the playoffs. That's my sleeper team. Can't really think of anyone else.
I think another team to look for, I think is going to take a big leap forward, is the Arizona Cardinals. Although they drafted very well. In addition to Kyler Murray, they picked up Hakeem Butler and Andy Isabella. They got Byron Murphy, so that's a good corner. So I think they added a lot of talent to their roster. So I think they definitely, I don't know the team, but I would probably guarantee that they're not going to be the worst team in the league this season.
Mm-hmm.
Their division's tough, though. They still have the Rams and Seahawks, so I mean, they might be 500, but I don't see them making the playoffs, though.
Yeah. I think that they'll be a pretty interesting team to watch, though. Depending on how good Kyler Murray is.
They'll be very fun to watch.
Depending on how good Kyler Murray is, they could be a team to reckon with.
Yeah. I was going to say something. I guess from that, we were talking about the Jets. Do we think that, obviously I said that the Patriots aren't going to be dethroned this year, but I hope they will. Do you think that the Rob Gronkowski retirement will have a big impact on their overall outcome this season?
I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just watching Rob Gronkowski play last season, he was the shell of his former self.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully you guys agree with that.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, he's inconsistent. Oh, he was.
I mean, obviously, his hand-eye coordination's fantastic. He still made a couple great catches down the stretch, but Belichick primarily had him as a run blocker, like a decoy almost.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously Belichick's a genius.
Yeah.
He'll figure out a way.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That I think that. I mean, we've seen year after year the Patriots just using some random name guys and turning them basically into stars for their offense. So I think they'll be able to do the same thing they signed Safarian Jenkins and people like that.
I think with N'Keal Harry, he's a pretty big wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
I believe he's 6'3", 6'4"? He's 6'4", yeah. So I think he'll be a nice replacement in terms of somebody to throw to for height instead of Gronk.
Mm-hmm.
Not exactly Gronk, but I think that again that the Patriots can pull no names and be a great team. So and besides, when you think about it, how much has Gronk played over the last 5 years, right, with all of his injuries, and the Patriots still made the playoffs and were Super Bowl contenders each year.
Yeah.
So I think they'd like to have Gronk, but they'll be okay without him.
Yeah. How many more seasons do you think they go on as being the Patriots?
I'd say this year is a pretty decent marker, considering that they're coming up the Super Bowl win. They lost Gronk. Brady's another year older, so this year could be a marker because everyone keeps saying, "Well, next year is the year that they're finally done."
Yeah.
So I think that, again, this year's a good marker because Gronk is gone. A lot of their players that they had for a while through their Super Bowl runs are gone now.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see if it's Bill Belichick. Is he that him and Brady that magical? We'll see. I think for sure this year. But I'd still say again that Bill Belichick is super super talented, and so is Brady. So I don't think they're done. But this year would be a good indicator.
Yeah, you can't doubt them, as Brian said earlier. They're just they just proved themselves. I mean, there's nothing more you can say.
I mean, like, how long could Tom Brady go for it? It's so annoying. But it just seems like he keeps getting better. So I would definitely agree this year. And it's a good idea that this would be like a marker year for them. I mean, this was the one season where it could all go down for them, or they could be the same Patriots as they've been.
Especially with the division on the rise with the Jets.
Yeah.
And more so the Jets than the Bills, but still.
Yeah. I'm trying to. When did Brett Favre retire? How old was he? Anyone know? 41. He retired when he was 41. Tom Brady's 41 too. He's the equivalent that I could think of for Tom Brady regarding age and everything. I'm just waiting for it to be over. I guess from there, trying to look at these questions that I have. I guess we did Super Bowl predictions, maybe MVP predictions for next season.
I mean, we could do Le'Veon Bell.
Oh yeah, the Le'Veon Bell thing.
You want to talk about Le'Veon Bell? Yeah.
Sure.
I think that Le'Veon Bell, in my opinion, is going to have his best year yet. And here's why, right? He's been in the NFL for quite a few years now. He's gained knowledge, and he's learned how to play the game at a professional level. And taking a year off, I think it kind of it's going to be great for his body, but also his mind. Right, clears his mind. His body's going to feel fresh. So he's going to have that knowledge with the fresh body, and I think that could really lead to him having one of his best years yet.
Mm-hmm. And I think also proving people wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he also has a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah.
That's the recipe for success, in my opinion.
I mean, he's 2019. He's like 27, I think. Mm-hmm. So he's still definitely young enough. He'll definitely, I feel, have a bit of rust on him, which is what I said earlier. Just because he hasn't played NFL football in a while, and I think that there's no reason for him not to be the same player that he was, or even better, like Nick said, especially with the chip on the shoulder, which is a very important thing in the NFL. And he has a lot more competition for the best running back in the league than he did a few years ago with Saquon Barkley, and Ezekiel Elliott's still there. So yeah, I think that he'll definitely be the same player, even better, like Nick said.
Well, with Le'Veon Bell, just watching him run for the Steelers, his strategy, I never seen anything like it before. Just the way he used to pick apart defenses and find the correct holes, I guess is the correct term. But I don't know if that'll transfer to the Jets. If it does, it'll be very effective. And we'll see if he could. I think Brian mentioned the rust.
Yeah.
We'll see, the first couple games. But, it's a win for the Jets that they signed him. Have to take that risk.
Yeah. Where the Jets are, they needed to sign someone, and he was the person to sign. I guess we'll go into MVP predictions because we're getting up there in time. So, for me, MVP, I would say either Drew Brees or Tom Brady again. I saw a thing that Sam Darnold is up there in people betting for who becomes MVP, but that's a little too far for me.
I don't know about that.
Yeah. I'd say I can't bet against Tom Brady again, so I'm just going to go with Tom Brady.
Alright, I guess I'll go. So my MVP candidate, going to be a little, again, off the books here. I'm going to have to go Saquon Barkley. Beyond just being a Giants fan, I feel like his talent as a running back is obviously once in a generation, and I feel like he has the potential to be that person to make the MVP, not a quarterback again. He's Adrian Peterson. What was it, 2012 type of potential. I think that Saquon Barkley, if the Giants want to run him enough, and the scheme works, you talk about schemes, right, and about how you practice. I think that Saquon Barkley could have 3,000 yards from scrimmage. He has that potential and that type of talent. So he'd be my pick going for the MVP this year.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna follow you up with the dark horse, Nick. I'm going to go with Aaron Rodgers for MVP.
That's interesting.
Obviously, very disappointing season for the Packers. They only had 6 wins. I mean, I can't doubt him, though. I mean, obviously, Mike McCarthy, he wasn't the best head coach. I'll leave it at that. So let's see if they have new offensive minds, see if Aaron Rodgers can come back blazing. I think it can happen, and if it does, Packers should win at least 10, 11 games at least.
Okay. Interesting. I guess I don't think we have any more questions. I guess we can go into our favorite team segment. This is going to go a little away from the NFL things. I mean, we'll talk about the Jets and the Giants, but I mean, the Rockets got Russell Westbrook. I'm sure Nick wants to talk about that.
So it finally happened. After all the evidence that I have, if you follow me on social media, you'll see how many times I posted, how many times Daryl Money said he was not going to trade Chris Paul, whether it was multiple times over Instagram, on radio shows or official statements, but then he goes and trades Chris Paul. So, I guess he. I want to say the original deal was for like 5 first-round picks, or 4. I think it was 4 first-round pick swap, and Chris Paul. But I think the net was like 2 or 3 first picks, Chris Paul, for Russell Westbrook. I guess Russell Westbrook, he's a very talented player, explosive, tries every night. I like Russell Westbrook as a player. I just don't know how well it's going to work with James Harden and the fact that they are so ball dominant.
Yeah.
They're definitely, if it wants to work out, there's definitely going to have to be some adjustments, because Russell Westbrook and James Harden can't have the ball at the same time. So we'll see how that works out. I just think the issue is that the Rockets had traded so many first-round picks to begin with, and I think part of that was getting James Harden. And now we have even less first-round picks, so this team's kind of built to explode if this doesn't work.
Yeah.
The Rockets don't really have an opportunity to rebuild until like 2030. So this is either we're going to work or it's not.
Yeah. I talked
in terms of Chris Paul, I'll just finish up. In terms of Chris Paul, I really loved him as a player. I thought he was really smart, in terms of basketball IQ, off the court. I really like him as a person as well. I wish him the best. I wish we could have Russell Westbrook, Chris Paul, and James Harden, but I guess it's not going to work out. So he's in OKC now. I think they're looking for a trade partner. Personally, I hope Chris Paul goes to the Lakers, because that would be pretty dope to see him and LeBron on AD. I don't know how that would work out, or how they get him there, but I've heard rumors about that, and there's a lot of rumors about Heat as a trade partner. But I wish the best for him.
Yeah, I talked about this on the last podcast, but there's history between Russell Westbrook and James Harden, being that they were on the Thunder together at the same time, but that was a much different time between James Harden and Russell Westbrook becoming superstars in the league. And I feel like it's definitely true that they'll have struggles figuring out how to who gets the ball, when they get the ball, and that could be definitely. I mean, we saw with Russell Westbrook when it was with Carmelo Anthony. I mean, both of them were ball dominant players, and that didn't work out. But Carmelo Anthony wasn't James Harden at that point, so I feel like hopefully they can figure it out, because I think it, like you said, now is the time for the Rockets, and it's kind of like if they don't get anything now, it's not going to happen for a long time. Yeah, go Jonathan.
No, I just wanted to say that they definitely have the talent. And Westbrook's coming off a rough season though, but I think he'll get it back. It's just tough though with the Rockets, because Westbrook I don't think he fits their system well. And I don't know how many touches he'll get, but I mean, they had to take the risk. Chris Paul, he was not going to cut it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they had to shoot their shot, I guess.
I guess we'll go on to baseball. I'm just going to skip over the Mets at this point, so...
yeah, please.
You can go about the Yankees, Nick.
The Yankees are still doing well, but on a hot streak as of late. Nothing unusual. Highlight of the week was Aaron Boone got a the other night after some bad strike calls. There's a video all over the internet where Brett Gardner takes his bat and starts slamming.
Yeah, I saw that.
The dugout, and Aaron Boone goes up to the umpire and he goes, "My guys are effing savages in that box."
Yeah.
And then he got the one game suspension. So
that was funny.
So the scandal of the Yankees is that they want to win too much and they have to fight the umps.
Yeah, it's a terrible thing to have.
Unlike the Mets. Unless like the Mets, the Mets are melting down from the inside out.
All right. We were skipping over the Mets, Nick. Is that all you have about the Yankees?
Yeah, just about. Nothing new. People came back from injuries. Postseason time, even though we're in July. Postseason time.
Okay.
Looking for the postseason.
Okay.
Well, no, yeah, I want Betanzas and what's his face, Severino, to come back first, and then postseason time.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, the Mets aren't technically out of it. I think they're 5 games behind the wild card, but we're not talking about that. I guess we can go into the Jets and Giants and what we think will happen this season. I mean, there's not really news yet for them, but for the Jets, I think I said that they were a sleeper for the season. I wish I could say that I think they're going to make the playoffs, but I don't see them making the playoffs yet. I think they still need to add more weapons around Sam Darnold. Obviously, of course, Le'Veon Bell's a really elite weapon, but wide receiver-wise, they didn't really, as I remember, they didn't really get much better, which is a key thing. I mean, Le'Veon Bell is he's a receiving running back, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he does it all.
Yeah. But wide receiver-wise, they didn't really do anything. So I think they're 1 year away from playoff. I think they'll definitely contest for a wild card, but I don't see them as a playoff team next year.
Yeah, I can't see it either.
That's sad.
You said it all, Brian. There's nothing more to say.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about the Giants?
I agree. I think Giants might come out and surprise some people. I think that their draft class this year, although I didn't like the way they drafted them, I've talked about it in the podcast and a few of my articles that, the way they traded around picks and the fact that they took Daniel Jones at 6 wasn't the greatest. I think draft class was pretty solid. They got a solid corner, and now I'm blanking on his name. I'm blanking on everybody's name today.
It's okay now.
Out of Georgia. Well, I don't know why I can't think of his name. Baker. There we go, DeAndre Baker. I love O'Shane Ximines out of Old Dominion, so he's going to be a nice DN. They're going to have B.J. Hill, O'Shane Ximines, Dalton Tomlinson. So it's a solid group right there. Linebacker, of course, still needs to improve, but Lorenzo Carter's getting better. I think Jabril Peppers is a solid player. He could, he could turn into an All-Pro, a consistent All-Pro. Saquon Barkley's going to be solid. I think Golden Tate and Sterling Shepard, they're both like slot receivers, so it's kind of tough. But I think that they'll fit well with Eli in terms of how he's aging, how they're not really throwing deep throws anymore. That they can work a lot out of the short game along with Saquon Barkley. Mm-hmm. So it could work out pretty decently. I'm not saying that the Giants are a playoff team, but they may not be the worst team in the NFL. I think the Bengals might have that locked down.
It's not the Browns anymore.
Yeah.
It's tough to bet on the Giants, though.
No, definitely, yes. I'm saying that they could be a 7-6 win team, coming out of the season.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough because their division's good too. I don't see them winning too many division games, maybe 1 or 2.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you said, what's his face from the Browns? Oh, Jabril Peppers. Yeah, I'm a big fan of him too.
Mm-hmm.
He's just an athletic freak, can do everything. Mm-hmm. And obviously Golden Tate can play a little too. But if Eli Manning's at quarterback, you can't do much.
Yeah.
I guess we'll go into the controversial topic. We wanted to keep it NFL related, so we're going to talk about the NFL suspensions and how they basically run things in the NFL suspension-wise. I think Nick's knows the most about this, so if he wants to start, that would be probably makes the most sense.
Yeah, sure. I was just, before we hopped on the podcast today, we need a controversial topic. Recently coming off of Hill and how they said the allegations are false. He didn't get a suspension. Mm-hmm. That's what made me think of it. Yeah. But I just think the overall process of how the NFL works on suspensions or scandals is pretty terrible. Mm-hmm. They wait months and months, from Deflategate to, other scandals. It's constant court battles and, unlike the NBA where NBA, their rulings are pretty hard. They're flat. It's quick. Adam Silver's pretty good at that. Where Roger Goodell is always wishy-washy depending on who it is. If Tom Brady commits X, Y, and Z, he won't get as big a punishment as, Tyreek Hill or Kareem Hunt, whoever it may be. Yeah. They focus on a lot about, what makes money and who's in the media rather than, the overall morality of what happened. Mm-hmm. Like, my thing, probably the biggest thing, is the Kareem Hunt. Because, after Ray Rice, I could see why the NFL, because Ray Rice incident, in my opinion, was pretty bad, right? Yeah. Clear evidence, he hit his girlfriend. It was on, it was on video, and it's pretty bad for the look of the NFL. Mm-hmm. But I think Kareem Hunt, right? When you look at what happened with that, they really weren't going to suspend him or anything.
Yeah, that was bad.
Until a video came out, which I think there's an issue there, right? Why is the video so important? I mean, it hurts the outlook of the NFL if there's video evidence, but if the morality of it is there, why does that matter?
Yeah, it seemed with
if they know he did it 100%.
With the Kareem Hunt thing, like, they were just waiting for the information to come out before they had to do anything, which made it seem even worse, which I think is what you were getting at.
They're more like reactive rather than proactive about the
that's the way to put it. And the Kareem Hunt thing was really bad, and I mean, it was bad for the Chiefs end too, because I don't think they did anything really until the video came
the
out.
whole situation was handled poorly.
Yeah, and it kind of just goes to show what the NFL cares about, which is more money than doing the best.
I remember, who's it, Greg Hardy?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Was he on the Panthers at the time? And
I think so.
He had a pretty atrocious domestic violence.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was charged or whatever, but I know, wasn't the Cowboys signed him after that? Mm-hmm. Just that the NFL, they prioritize money over, I guess, I don't even know what to call it.
The morality, that's what I would say, the situation.
Yeah.
In one of my articles, I talked about how it's so bad how these players can do, like, illegal things, and then, like, Kareem Hunt's getting paid, like, $1 million next year. And that doesn't seem like a lot for the NFL, but, like, compared to, like, regular day people, that's an insane amount of money to make for running a football. But also off of that, like, if you compare, which is a big controversy in the NFL, compare, like, everyday criminal activity that NFL players do, like domestic violence or things like that, it's not, they're not penalized as much for, compared to in-game things that happen, like Deflategate. I mean, how many games did Tom Brady get for that?
I think 4.
4. And then 4. I don't remember specifically, but there was another case with a player that it was like domestic violence, and he got like 2 games. And
I think it was like Zeke. I think Zeke got like 4 games for domestic violence.
And obviously, domestic violence is human, like, criminal activity, something that should never happen. And he should get suspended much more than the 4 games that Tom Brady got.
And I'm just saying, right? If there was a video that came out proving that Zeke, or not, I guess not proving, because whether it happened or not, I guess it's up to the NFL's determination and the laws. But if there was a video of Zeke committing domestic violence, then he'd get 12, 14 game suspensions. So I think, the whole suspension system in the NFL is just, it's so inconsistent and it's so money based, and what goes to the media. There needs more consistency, and they need to again be more proactive instead of reactive.
Yeah, I mean, from what's been happening in the NFL with suspensions, their whole media relations and what everyone thinks about the NFL is just in a horrible state right now. I mean, there's no one that I think could say that the NFL is doing the right things with how they suspend players. That's all I have to say about this. I don't know if you guys have anything else.
No, I agree with you guys with what you guys are saying. So.
Yeah.
At the NFL, stop waiting for TMZ to post videos and look into your issues before they get out to the media.
Yeah. Roger Goodell, if you're listening, figure this stuff out. I guess that's it. Do you guys have any final words?
Not much. Just hope everyone's having a good day.
Yeah.
Everyone stay cool. It's so hot.
It's been pretty hot out in New York, 96, 97 degrees. I just wanted to say, my usual outro. This podcast is a work in progress. Any thoughts, comments, concerns, you can, contact me at nick.horvath on Instagram. Or my email, nicholasforbath10@yahoo.com. Also, we got business cards. Brian, I want to talk a little bit about that too. So if anybody's interested, contact me for a business card.
Yeah, contact me for a business card.
Or wants to join us.
Yeah, they're pretty lit business cards. What was I going to say? I want to apologize for all the technical difficulties. There were a lot during this one. I think GarageBand cut off 2 or 3 times during this, and then our FaceTime got
interrupted at some point.
So yeah, sorry about that. We'll be back next week with another podcast. Like Nick said, let us know what you think about this. Comment and email us. Check out our videos on YouTube. Our Kevin Durant video is our highest video I talked about last week. It's up to 2,300 views. Tomorrow there's a Saquon Barkley video coming out. It's going to be more NFL related for right now because there's not a lot else going on. So I think Saquon Barkley's Monday, then Baker Mayfield's either Wednesday or Friday. So keep checking out those videos, keep watching them, liking them, subscribing. We're at 43 subscribers. It's a road to 50. If you have any interest in writing for us or editing videos, contact us at SportUniverse2019@gmail.com. Keep reading the articles. I'm going to try and figure out a posting schedule for the articles too, just to get more stuff out. And thanks for listening.